the years, logically, people have wondered and asked about the relationship between Karl Marx and his criticisms of capitalism on the one hand, and worker co-ops and the movement for worker co-ops on the other. What is the connection? Well, Marx never devoted any extended piece of writing, not a pamphlet or an article or a book, to the subject. So it's not one that he focused his creative attention on. Why? I believe for two reasons. The first is he didn't believe in predicting the future. He was asked often, where is the future going? And he smiled and he said, I have no better idea of how the world is going to evolve than anybody else does. That's not what I'm about. I'm not going to paint a pretty picture of a better world. I want to analyze, A, what's wrong with the world we live in, and B, who I want to identify, who in this world is going to make the changes needed to get to a better place. Slaves are needed to revolt against slavery. Serfs are needed to break out of feudalism. And the working class, what he called the proletariat, because that was the word they used then, is going to be the agent for taking capitalism to the next better social stage. So he wasn't really that interested in the details of how that future might look, number one. Number two reason, there were co-ops in Marx's time. He did occasionally make references to them. But the co-ops in Marx's time were often, not always, but often institutions, excuse me, that shied away from being critical of capitalism. They didn't want the dominant capitalist system, within which they were a pretty small minority, to be worried about them, to be hostile toward them. So they went out of their way to suggest to capitalists, we're not against you, we're not fighting you, we just have a different way of getting together to run our enterprises. We are warm and cuddly and social and friendly, and we just want to be left alone so that we can run our business in this democratic collective way, but we're not against you. In other words, they went out of their way to present themselves as non-revolutionary. Over time, to the present, they have become more and more important, not because they've become aggressive, they really haven't, but because capitalism is such a disaster for so many people now that there's an active searching for alternative ways of organizing society. And of course, people interested in those alternatives have a kind of eureka moment where they realize that bringing democracy to the workplace, having the workers, one person, one vote, make all the decisions, is a way better economic system than the capitalism they're living through. And so now worker co-ops have become interesting to people who want to make social change, even when sometimes the folks in the co-ops are nervous about where that's taking that whole movement.
Follow us on our social media and help sustain this unique educational work by going to our website, worksusa.org/donate, or contribute to our Patreon community